Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Each of us is going to say a few words, then we're going to take your questions. When President Biden took the oath of office 100 days ago, he pledged that help was on the way. Now, thanks to our work here in the Congress to enact the American Rescue Plan, help is here. The American Rescue Plan is delivering shots in arms, money in pockets, people in jobs, children in schools, and so much more. The United States has administered more than 230 million vaccine doses and counting. More than 95 million Americans are fully vaccinated. Half of the adults in the US have received at least one dose. About 159 million stimulus payments have made their way into the hands of hard-working Americans, with most eligible families receiving $1,400 per family member. We've invested $130 billion to help schools reopen safely, stay open safely, and make up for lost learning time. And have sent $39 billion to states to help keep child care providers on the job and lower costs for working families. We created nearly 1 million jobs in March. As CNBC said, job growth boomed in March at the fastest pace since last summer, as stronger economic growth and an aggressive vaccination effort contributed to a surge in hospitality and construction jobs. Each of these numbers represents grandparents hugging their children for the first time in months, parents going back to work, teachers safely back in the classroom, businesses open, and workers with paychecks in their pockets. Hardworking men and women across the entire country are the heroes of this recovery. And that's why Democrats are uplifting their stories ahead of President Biden's first address to a joint session of Congress tomorrow. In a typical year, many of us would invite guests from our states and our districts to join us to sit in the chamber. COVID-19 protocols mean this year in-person attendance is very limited. But we didn't want to miss this important opportunity to honor the American people. So today, Democrats are naming virtual guests for tomorrow's speech. Hardworking men and women whose lives are better because of the work we've done together during President Biden's first 100 days. And it's my honor to start today's press conference by introducing my friend, my sister, my person who's got the best first name, but she's from my home state and we've known each other for decades. Senator Debbie Stabenow, who is going to discuss how this relief package has impacted communities in our home state of Michigan.
Well, thanks so much, Congresswoman Dingell. And as you and I already say, we're the Debbie Caucus and working hand in hand in Michigan. So it's an honor to be with you and to be with everyone on the call right now. Normally, as you said, we would be inviting people to sit in the gallery as our guests, and that's not possible now. So we are using what we have come to use this last year, which is a virtual process. And so I think you laid out so well what is in the overall American Rescue Plan. I mean, it really is, putting shots in people's arms so we can save their lives and they can get their lives back, and money in people's pockets, and children back to school safely, and food on families' tables. And I've asked a wonderful guest to join me from our state of Michigan today to specifically talk about food on tables. As chair of the Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry Committee, I was very pleased to be in a position to lead our efforts to get the SNAP benefits, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program benefits, increased additional help for pregnant moms and babies under WIC, and help for children that are no longer able to have their healthy meals at school, so that we could continue those policies that we all support and really strengthen those, working with President Biden. And this includes, the SNAP increase includes 1.9 million Michiganders who live in food insecure homes. That's 1 out of 7 adults and 1 out of 4 children. So it's making a real difference. And I know too many folks are worrying every day about whether or not they're going to have food today or tomorrow, or what's going to happen for their children. So I want to introduce Eric Puff, who is a wonderful Michigander who has an important story to tell as a single dad who lives in Grant, Michigan, and has gone through so many of the challenges that folks have in this last year. The pandemic hit him hard, and he and his son have relied on SNAP and other food help. And so, Eric, I so appreciate your sharing our story of what's happening in Michigan, and your story personally, and for being a part of the conversation today. So I'm going to put it over to you to say a few words.
Well, thank you, Madam Senator. I appreciate the opportunity. Just to touch briefly on the SNAP program, the SNAP program in the supplemental funds provided by the American Rescue Plan really helped. You can't even quantify how much it came at a time when we needed it most. My son, who struggled with early developmental delays his entire life, he'd still be lagging far behind without proper nutrition and all the help from his wonderful teachers, that we've been able to get him back into school with his teachers. It's the food insecurity is not just a buzzword, it's terrifying. And I never imagined I would be in this position, but I never imagined or could have imagined that, I would be laid off a month prior to a global pandemic just decimating our country and its economy. The food insecurity, to me, it's like a specter that's hiding behind every unplanned financial expense. Like, for specific example, after the pandemic hit around February or March, the head gasket went out in my vehicle. And so I was literally debating, if I fix the car, what am I going to be able to provide food, for my son? And February is cold in Michigan, as everybody knows. So there's a lot of compounding expenses. And without the help that we had from SNAP and the American Rescue additional funding, it allowed us not only to eat healthy, but the extra money allowed us to get the masks that we needed, the toilet paper, the sanitizer, socks, diapers, you name it. I mean, I never imagined I would be in this position. But there's a lot of people that are a lot worse off than I am. I'm very fortunate to be able to say that. Thank you so much to everyone involved in making sure that we're still here.
Well, thank you so much, Eric. Really appreciate it. And I know it means a lot to all of us who've worked so hard on this and frankly partnered with President Biden. And you and I talked about the fact that, we're feeling like it's getting better with Biden, right? And
every day.
Every day, and partnering, we're proud to have partnered in the House and the Senate with the president as well. So I'm going to turn this back. I think that Matt Cartwright, Congressman Cartwright, I think is the person I'm supposed to turn it to at this point. But thank you, Eric.
My pleasure, Madam.
Thank you, Senator Stabenow. And thank you to both of our Michiganders. It's a pleasure to be here for me, together with John Cardoni, one of my constituents from DuPont, Pennsylvania, and my virtual guest of honor for tomorrow's joint address. And I want to tell you, he has up close and personal firsthand experience with what this pandemic has meant and what 100 days of work with this administration have meant for him. We have really started to turn a corner in our fight against this pandemic. People are getting vaccinated at a faster rate than anyone thought possible. We have administered more than 230 million doses nationwide, including over 300,000 shots across my own district's counties. Our area's schools recently received $250 million from the American Rescue Plan to help them get kids back in classrooms and make up for lost classroom time. And nearly 1 million Americans went back to work last month, 1 million jobs in March, the fastest pace of job growth that we've had in nearly a year. Behind all of these numbers are American comeback stories. They represent parents back at work with their kids, headed back to school safely, grandparents able to see their kids and families safely again, more businesses fully open, and customers with money to spend and to help our economy grow. And in the middle of all this, in the middle of this progress, we cannot forget how we got here. The road to recovery is paved with the trials of a year of pain and hardship. But I want to stop talking. I want to help share one of those comeback stories here today. Like so many who work at large event venues, John Cardoni was laid off from his job at the Scranton Cultural Center, a terrific performing arts center in the middle of Scranton, Pennsylvania. He was laid off, but he got by with help from the CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan. Now things are looking up, but I want to turn it over to John and let him tell you more. John, thank you for being here, and I yield to you. You have the floor.
Thank you, Congressman, Madam Senator, and Madam Congresswoman, and other senators. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. As Congressman Cartwright mentioned, I have the position of being the GM facility director of the Scranton Cultural Center. And prior to President Biden's coming into office, under the previous administration, we had some assistance, a little bit of hope, and not much faith in terms of how things were going to progress from there. I'm very honored that early on in this process, Joe Biden actually used our venue as one of his early campaign stops before he was selected as the nominee. And most of my staff here has a photo of him in their office or at home, reminding them of just how far we've come since the early days of the campaign. The Scranton Cultural Center is a vibrant part of the Northeastern Pennsylvania community, hosting cultural events, classes, serving underprivileged audiences and persons of all races, of all religions, of all arts backgrounds, which can be just as contentious as two differing political parties sometimes. And the door closed in March of 2020 and is still not open. With some help from the PPP monies and a loan, an out-and-out loan, we were able to survive. President Biden and the American Rescue Plan now makes it possible for not us just to survive, but to look forward to being able to reopen our doors this fall and host events again as the vaccinations reach levels needed for herd immunity and the security that an audience needs to be in the building. On a personal level, I'm medically challenged. I'm a type 1 diabetic of 50 plus years, and I'm a transplant recipient. So immunosuppressed and diabetes were two of the bigger warning signs of being liable to pick up COVID. And through the early days of this, when messages were mixed from the previous administration, we weren't sure really how to handle things here. We just knew that we were going to have to hunker down and try to wait it out. I'm happy to report that because of the increased vaccination and the effort on all of your parts across the states, but especially here in Pennsylvania and Governor Wolf's mandates about masks, all of our staff here is fine. We've all experienced some loss, whether it's colleagues or family. But the intact staff here is now 80% vaccinated, looking forward to 100% level. My family is vaccinated. And for the first time in over a year, I was actually able to visit with my mother and one of my sisters who are only a mile away from my home. but I was not able to see them other than an occasional video call. So to all of you for the continued work that you're doing, thank you very much.
Well, thanks, John. And I want to turn the floor over to my brilliant colleague, Representative Ted Lieu.
Thank you so much, Matt. And I want to, first of all, say I'm honored to be at this press conference with Senator Stabenow and my co-chairs, Matt Cartwright, Debbie Dingell, and Joe Neguse. And we're here to talk about the American Rescue Plan and President Biden's speech tomorrow. This American Rescue Plan is transformative, and it's really helping American families and businesses across our country. It's designed for all the people to put shots in their arms, people back into jobs, children into schools, and cash into pockets. I also want to note that while some of these programs in the plan, such as stimulus checks, automatically go to people who qualify, a number of these programs require people to apply for them. So, for example, Democrats did a massive expansion of the child tax credit. If you have a young child of 6 or under, you're going to get $3,600 back. And if your child is between 6 and 17, you're going to get $3,000. But in order to get that, you've got to file your taxes. If you think somehow you didn't make enough income last year to file, or for whatever reason you don't file, and let's say you have 3 young kids, you'll be missing out on over $10,000 in federal benefits. So make sure you file your taxes, make sure you apply for the different programs of the American Rescue Plan. At the same time, the plan also gave a significant amount of money to cities and counties and states so that they can build back better. One of the cities in my district is the beautiful city of Santa Monica, and I'm thrilled to have Mayor Sue Himmelrich, who is my virtual guest. She's going to talk about how the money from the American Rescue Plan will be used in her city and how it's going to help her constituents.
Thank you so much, Congressman Lieu, and thank you for including me today. For those of you not familiar with Santa Monica, it is an 8.3 square mile city with 90,000 people. And as of the January of 2021, we had a projected $224 million shortfall from the pandemic and had received from the federal government $1.14 million. Now, let me say something else about Santa Monica. We are a generous city whose taxpayers have voted time and time again to tax themselves for our schools, for affordable housing, and basically to support our community. And thanks to this administration and to President Biden, we received almost $30 million from the American Rescue Plan. And with this $30 million, we will be able to restore many of the community funds that we lost to provide rent relief, including to our own nonprofit tenants, and to reopen our businesses, to restore community services. Our schools are reopening. We are a different city today than we were just in January, thanks to these funds that have truly allowed us to make a rebound, to begin to climb back to where we were before the pandemic. I am so grateful to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mayor Himmelrich, for your presentation. And next, we're going to hear from co-chair Joe Neguse.
Well, thank you, Representative Lieu, and to my other co-chairs, Representative Cartwright and Representative Dingell, and of course to Senator Stabenow and all of the guests today. We know that this year has been an incredibly tough one for many Americans as we hear the stories that were shared during the course of this press conference today. Countless Coloradans in my state, families across our state have dealt with unprecedented economic hardship. We've heard many gut-wrenching stories over the past year, stories of loved ones lost, of children gone hungry, evictions served, and cars repossessed. When President Biden took the oath of office 100 days ago, he pledged that help was on the way. And now, thanks to our work together to enact the American Rescue Plan, help is here. The American Rescue Plan brought American families urgent support when they needed it most through expanded nutrition assistance, unemployment benefits, and stimulus checks. It put shots in the arms and is helping small business owners keep their doors open. In particular, a priority of mine, the American Rescue Plan ensured that our local food banks continued to have the resources to meet the needs of our hungry kids and families. And that's why I'm so proud to be joined today by Suzanne Crawford, CEO at Sister Carmen, a wonderful Boulder-based community food bank here in my hometown of Lafayette, which has been providing consistent and heroic support to our communities over the past year. With COVID-19 relief funds, Sister Carmen helped provide households with food and financial assistance for electricity and gas bills, and supported digital literacy classes that connect underserved families and individuals with affordable technology and training on basic computer skills. I'd like to turn it over to Suzanne so that she can share more about what the COVID-19 relief funds have meant for Sister Carmen. Suzanne?
Thank you, Congressman Neguse, and thank you for all you're doing, and all of you for all you're doing to support vulnerable populations through this crisis and beyond. My organization, Sister Carmen Community Center, is a family resource center that, as the Congressman said, we serve Eastern Boulder County. We're part of a network of family resource centers statewide, the Family Resource Center Association. We saw an over 420% increase in rent assistance requests over the last year. So just my little organization alone has provided over $1.7 million in housing assistance, not including other forms of financial assistance. We also were able to give out over 250,000 pounds of additional food, bringing our total over the last year to over 1.5 million pounds of food provided. We've provided parenting classes and support groups online to help vulnerable parents navigate the stress and change that they've experienced through the crisis, and to help them feel less isolated. And as the Congressman said, we provided digital literacy classes and coaching online, one-on-one, and have helped people gain these necessary and critical skills. Because as many of you probably are not aware, some folks, 14% of households in Boulder County actually prior to the pandemic either did not have a computer at home or did not have internet access. And during the pandemic, it became even more critical for them to be able to get supports and navigate online. All of this has been accomplished with COVID-19 relief funds and funds from the American Rescue Plan and the support of our community. And we couldn't have done it without the support of all of you. So thank you so very much. And we're looking forward to helping our community build back better.
Thank you so much, Suzanne, for all your incredible work, and to all of the guests today for sharing their thoughts and insights. With that, I will turn it over, I believe, to Representative Dingell.
Hi, actually, I'll chime in here. So that concludes our speaking program. Thank you, everyone, so much. We'll go ahead and take questions from members of the media. Reminder, you can put yourself in the queue by clicking the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. If you're dialed in by phone, hit *9. We'll take as many questions as we can in the order they were received. And we just ask that you state your outlet and which member or guest your question is directed at. We'll just pause for a moment while members of the media get in the queue. Got about 30 folks on the line, so come on, guys, don't be shy. Well, it may be that everyone's stories were so compelling that folks got what they need. We'll wait about 5 more seconds to see if anyone wants to put themselves in the question queue. If not, we can go ahead and conclude today's press conference. All right, and members of the media can feel free to reach up with follow-up questions to dpcc@mail.house.gov. But seeing no questions, we can go ahead and conclude today's press conference. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thanks, everybody. So long.
Thank you all.